Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
This is Phil Ferris, and welcome to today's episode, where today's guest is Michael Keppen. His organization, Thrive Project for America, helps middle school and high school youth develop an elite mindset. Through the program, youth build their confidence and ultimately become resilient individuals. Because we have a lot of time, a lot to cover today, Michael, let's dig in right away. Your organization, Thrive Project for America, offers a unique educational experience for youth ages 11 through 18. It's unique because it's taught by military personnel and former Navy SEALs to help youth develop elite mindsets to help them succeed in life. And my first question is, why is mindset so important?
Well, I think it's important mainly for the fact that I think it's something that's lacking in a lot of children these days, and the struggles that they face or the mistakes that they may make both in school or out of school causes them to face failure, but not necessarily bounce back from that. And I think the mind in and of itself is really what controls the rest of our body. And if you don't have it upstairs, as they say, anything below the neckline is not really going to work. So it doesn't necessarily have to equate to physical performance on a sports field or, performance in a classroom or in a boardroom, but it really starts to kind of encapsulate who you are as a person, how you think, how you act, ultimately will drive your performance.
Okay. And how do you create an environment to help deliver that message? Because if they aren't getting it in the classroom or perhaps they aren't getting home, how are you going to break through that wall and help them develop that mindset?
I think we're, based on our training in the military, and we've seen this time and time again with recruits that come into the Navy, with fellow SEALs that are coming through BUDS training that's out in San Diego, fellow combat aviators. We've all seen it where the guys and gals that come into a program really don't know what they're getting into. They've maybe read a book, they've seen a movie, they want to be a SEAL, but once they get into that environment, they're stressed and they're tired and they're overwhelmed with all of these obstacles. So over our experience going through those different sorts of situations and then coming back as master training specialists and instructors, we've learned how to craft that atmosphere so that it's rewarding, it's up front, it's in your face. But the way we've crafted that environment is based on those experiences, but it's not meant to be a boot camp or, a SEAL type of environment where it's a lot of yelling, it's a lot of physical, intense movement. It's really, focused on youth and how do they get through, a standard, day and the stressful situations that they come up with. How can they push themselves mentally and prepare it, so they can be successful?
Okay. Now, in my experience with the program, which was with Lake Zurich Lacrosse, there's both a physical component to what you do and a mental. Why is it important to have both?
I think the physical piece is the reinforcement activity, and it is by far one of the easiest ways to put your body and yourself into a stressful situation. It's hard to replicate a mentally stressful situation where maybe it's a timed test, it's studying for an ACT, it's applying for college, and compounding all of those mentally stressful events is somewhat difficult to do in a short amount of time. But a physical activity where it's demanding of your body is easily replicated in large scale in a short amount of time. So the reason why we've combined, an academic classroom and then a reinforcement is to first give those students, those players, those kids the right tools that they can remember, they can learn concepts that they can figure out for their own specific situation, how to adapt, and then how to overcome, and then give them an opportunity out in the field or in the gym to practice what they just learned in a physical way.
Okay. Now you mentioned putting them in a state of stress as an important for the learning process. Why is stress needed?
I think it's needed because we want to see how we will operate under fire, if you will. And to use a military analogy is, we train and we train and we train, but until we're tested, we don't know if our training actually works or not. And if you sit and you read a book, or you sit and read and try to study a language, but you never speak that language, then you don't really know if all of that training that you've done in the classroom or in a simulator or in a gym or a weight room actually has helped you. So we incorporate the classroom and the physical piece together because it provides that immediate response and that immediate reinforcement to what they just learned in the classroom. So it provides that mechanism to either light that fire that's inside of them, turn that light switch on, provide that aha moment, like, okay, I get it. I can see exactly what he just told me in the classroom, and I'm going through this physical event now. I see the relationship. I get it. This applies to me in my life in this way.
Okay, well, maybe it would help if you were to kind of describe the kind of an experience, specific description of what someone would go through with the training, and maybe even highlight like what might be a typical aha moment during that training.
Okay. Well, right now we're a brand new 501c3, so we've got a couple of programs under our belt, both of which were different. The first one that we did was a traditional after-school program, which was middle schoolers, grades 6 through 8, ages 11 to 14. Some of their teachers and their principal was even involved in the program. But the academic concepts for that after-school program and the program we did with the Lake Zurich lacrosse team, very similar academic concepts. Some of the analogies or the examples, the applications in those classroom settings were different because they were two different age groups. But the difference between those were the physical activities. We thought, with our board and some of our instructors said we can do more with a high school varsity sports team physically than we could with a 11-year-old sixth grader who may not have any sort of physical prowess whatsoever. So the after-school program, the experience that we gave them was 30 minutes of class followed by an hour and a half of team-building activities, which did include some physical fitness, but it was all based around a team approach. So utilizing a slosh tube or what would mimic a telephone pole, if you will, from Navy SEAL training to get from point A to B, doing push-ups or something like that. Land navigation was another activity that we did with the middle schoolers, which utilized a compass, outdoors and a map, and it was analogous to a moral compass and what we would need in life to navigate, from situation to situation in life. So the Lake Zurich lacrosse thing was meant to be a vigorous workout. So it was something that we knew that we could test them at a higher level than we could the middle schoolers. So at this point in growing our program, we're refining what that looks like. We're actually refining what our product market fit is, and is it going to be just an after-school program? Are we going to just focus on sports teams? And we're getting better and better based on the feedback that we receive at doing that. But to date, we've received a lot of great feedback from both different types of training sessions. So the after-school program, the teachers that were involved, the principal that were involved, and even some of the kids really took the time and provided a lot of good comments. It wasn't one-line statements. It was paragraphs of, we believe in your program. We think it fits the need for a middle school. Here's how we would tweak it for future programs. the Lake Zurich lacrosse program, the athletes loved it. They had immediate feedback, immediate relation to what they were doing in sport, but also in life. So right now we're taking all of that feedback. We're looking at ourselves. We're self-assessing and assessing the program and figuring out how can we do more, how can we do it better, and where do we go next.
Okay. Is there any highlight or aha moment that you could recall from one of the sessions that says, wow, this is really what we're trying to get to?
I think you mean from the player's perspective or my perspective?
But yeah, from observation of a player, because that's the ultimate measuring tool is how do we impact these players, these students?
Sure. Well, I think that a lot of them had said that the experience had taught them perseverance and self-awareness was everything that you needed as an athlete. They found it inspiring. They found it difficult. They were out of their comfort zone, and that was part of the point. Is that if we continue to operate in our comfort zone and we don't test ourselves, then we're never going to get better. So we really focused on identifying the players by group, and whether it was junior varsity or varsity, and over the course of a few exercises, pinpointed those that could do more, and then we tested them harder than some of the other kids in the group. But it comes down to their attitude and effort, and that's what we kind of preach in the program. Is those two things are the only things you can control, and through the physical fitness, showing that a positive attitude and 100% of effort will allow them to become more resilient. But a lot of the kids, took it seriously. They really focused on what the instructors were saying. They tried everything, and they tried it, to their best of their ability. Some wanted to quit. Literally, the first lap they took around the park, several of them came up to me and said, "I want to stop. I'm done." And it wasn't because they were out of pain or in pain. It was just because they hit their wall, and whatever that wall was, but they kept going, and they kept pushing that wall, and they kept overcoming those obstacles. And at the end of the event, they realized that because they convinced themselves mentally and controlled that aspect of their mind, that they were able to overcome that and basically increase the amount of effort that they were putting out.
That's really powerful when people get that insight and awareness, and they say, "Wow, I can do more." So the question is, this is very powerful stuff. There's a huge marketplace of people that need this, but how did you decide to take on this venture?
Well, being in the military, being at the Navy's boot camp, we started to notice that the kids coming into our gates, our doors, all suffered from a very similar issue. And though we were putting them into a highly stressful, high op-tempo military environment, it was kind of a slow burn. It wasn't, throwing an egg right into boiling water. It was a slow boil, but they were still cracking under pressure, and they were quitting. And specifically with the Navy SEAL recruits, we kind of coined the term that we were producing stronger quitters. And we note that boot camp in and of itself is truly a microcosm of the rest of society. It's the Navy's only boot camp. 40,000 recruits come through here a year, and they come from all over the country and literally all over the world, which is a source of citizenship for the foreign nationals that come through and decide to serve the Navy or in the Navy. But the reason why we decided to start it is we wanted to fix the problem before it got to our doors. And we knew that these kids had just left home. They just left their high schools and their buddies, and they were really no different. Nothing had changed in the bus ride or the plane ride over to Great Lakes. They were still the same way they were a few days ago. So it's only after that boot camp experience where they really have started to develop a new personality, new behavior, and they become that young man or woman that their parents see on graduation day. So we wanted to start changing it right away. But we said, in order to do that, we need to develop a program to go back into the communities and reach these kids in middle school or high school. And in the very beginning of Thrive, one of our board members is a licensed clinical counselor, and we asked him his professional opinion based on his education and research. At what point in that age range do you think these concepts, academically, would be understandable, and then physically, what could we do at a middle school level or a high school level that would properly reinforce those? He theorized that sixth grade is a good way or a good age to focus on, 6th through 12th grade, and then basically that gives them an idea that after high school, that's truly when life starts. I mean, they're working their way up to that, but graduation for a lot of kids and becoming an adult, that's a very critical point in their life. So we wanted to start in 6th grade, lay that foundation, and then as kids went through the program, whether it was one time or multiple times, as we continue to build Thrive, we'll do succession type programs. But once they graduate or quote unquote finish the program, bring them back into the fold as mentors, as Thrive mentors for the younger guys and gals that are just starting it. But back to the original question, how did we decide to start it? It was based on our experience at boot camp and noticing that the smartest, the fastest recruits that wanted to be Navy SEALs were quitting. And they were quitting on themselves for really no other reason but a lack of mindset. They wanted to be a Navy SEAL for however long, and the first time that they were in a stressful environment, whether they were performing more than what they could think of physically, or they were being yelled at by an instructor, they quit. They rung the bell, as we say, and we wanted to stop it. So we wanted to figure out, why are these kids attriting and quitting from the program? But ultimately, we wanted to fix it because we saw it as a larger issue in society, not just within the Navy.
Okay, I agree. It is, it is a societal problem that you're trying to address. Now, any program that is associated with the military may have some misconceptions around it. I was wondering if you'd share what you've experienced in terms of clarifying what the program is and isn't, based on the background coming from a military standpoint.
I think the first thing when people see that it's a program that was started by military veterans and specifically Navy SEALs, that our program is a boot camp. It's meant to break people down and to build them up and really reinforce tough physical fitness, and that really can't be farther from the truth. We're not trying to make elite athletes. We're trying to rebuild a mindset in these kids so that they can succeed in life with whatever they want to do. And it's truly a skill set. It's kind of interesting. We're not making, we're not doing arts and crafts and stuff like that, or teaching these kids how to code or play an instrument or run faster. We're teaching them how to think and how to think properly and get through stressful situations that will come up later in life. And building that foundation is something that people don't really understand right away. They don't understand the concept of a growth or a fixed mindset. So they see it, with the Navy SEAL and military physical fitness, and they think it's a boot camp. But again, our goal is not to belittle somebody or to mean them, break them down. It's really to just start building that confidence and competency within them, and doing it as young as 11 is really cool.
Yeah, that's I guess that really is a formative age where really they're starting to build that mindset of capacity and capability. What can I become, and taking off the limitations can be very, very empowering and very, very powerful. If someone were to want to get more information about your program, about Thrive Project for America, where would they go?
I think the easiest place is thrivepa.org, Our contact information is on there. You can read a little bit more about who we are as individuals, why we started the program, and what our mission and vision is for Thrive. But right now we're starting out. We can use whatever support, whether it's time, talent, or treasure. But as a 501c3, we really execute our mission based on what we call the Friends of Thrive, and those corporations, those individual donors that believe in us, believe in our mission to build confident and competent youth. But thrivepa.org is our website. I recommend everybody going on there and reading up. If they want to ask questions, there's a contact us page, and we'll get those emails straight to us.
Well, that's great. I'm a strong believer in the program and the concepts and the values it's built on. Michael, I'd like to thank you very much for sharing your insights about Thrive Project for America. And hope you have a great day, and looking forward to talking to you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for your time, Phil. It was great.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.